Hi, everybody. My name is Cynthia Mason. I am Vice Chair of the Arts Commission. JR is not going to be here tonight, so I will be leading the way. And we'll call the meeting to order here at 5 o'clock. Roll call. Carla, you're online?
Here.
Thank you. Oh, we can hear you great. JR is not here. Mary Himes, no word from Mary. Valerie?
Here.
Thank you. Cynthia, I'm here. Tracy?
I am here.
Thank you. Therese? Thank you. And Chris is not going to be with us. Approval of agenda, and there was one suggested change, and that is to move item 5D up to the top. We have our student representative candidate in the audience. Hi. So if there's no other changes, can we get a motion just to amend the agenda?
I motion that.
Thank you.
I'll
Second.
second.
Thank you, Tracy. Next would be approval of our minutes from our regular meeting of September. Seems like a long, long time ago. Did everybody have a chance to read them? And Dave took them out early. They're always so perfect. Can we entertain a motion to approve the minutes as presented?
I'm not sure I have the last meeting notes.
September.
Yeah.
Here.
I have 2 of November's.
There you go.
Oh, perfect. Okay.
Motion? That's okay.
Motion to approve.
Thank you. Second? Thank you.
I'll second.
Thank you, Tracy. The minutes passed as presented. Oh, a vote. All in favor? Aye. Thank you, Carla.
Aye.
Number 4 is public comment. And there's nobody in the chambers. Good morning. Thanks for joining us. Yes. Yeah. So there was one public comment in our packet that we received surrounding subject of public art from Jasmine Flowers that everybody got to look at. And that was, without reading it verbatim, it was an idea presented to I take the idea on for a sculpture of our Bruiser, our one and only lone elk on the island. So maybe we could table that for discussion at our next meeting. Brian, how would you like to approach that?
Yeah, that's fine. Jasmine emailed me and said that she wouldn't be able to make it today. She had her childcare cancel on her. She just asked that the Bruiser statue for the college be brought up. I don't have any more details than what is in that comment, in that
Yeah.
email. So if you want to table that and we'll invite her to the next meeting, that's fine, unless you want to have any further discussion on it.
Does anybody want to have any comment on that, or should we table that? Okay, all in favor? Oh, I'm sorry.
I have a quick comment.
Okay.
Some of the tools that Framework had provided to us, it did include one form that a situation like this could be utilized. I'm wondering if we should put that into play.
Well, but we also voted to not take any action moving forward until
True.
our plan was in place.
True.
So a presentation wouldn't be taking action, but
Okay,
Okay?
gotcha.
Okay. We good with that? And then, if there's no other public comment, we can move on for our discussion, action, presentation, and reporting items, and this is where we've moved our student representative up to the first item. Reese, do you want to come to the podium and just say hello and introduce yourself? We did get your resume.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello, my name is Reese Wassinger. I'm a junior at Oak Harbor High School. Thanks for the opportunity for me to be here tonight. I'm really excited to meet you all. Yeah, do you have anything else you'd like me to say?
Did everybody
Or
have a chance to
questions?
look at her resume? Good. Well, I want to thank you very much for applying. I think I solicited through your mother.
Yeah.
But I'm very happy that Erica presented the idea to you, and thank you for your time for being here.
Of course.
If nobody has any questions for Reese.
Cynthia?
Yes. Oh, there you go. You're to my right. I'm looking left always.
That's okay. I'm the only one over here.
Yeah, yep.
Right this moment. There might be one soon. Reese, I'm just interested to hear from you directly. Why do you want to be here on the commission? Why do you want to participate?
Well, through my mom, who was on city council, I'm really interested in local government, and I'm also an artist of my own. I took advanced placement art last year, and I'm really passionate about it. I love it, and I'm excited to get some feedback from the high school and from the student body to you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Carla, you good? With that, then I would like to entertain a motion to appoint Reese to our student representative position for the student term, which is how long is the term, Mikhail? Can you remember? Through August? Okay. Well, I can't make the motion. Thank you. Reese.
And I'll second that.
Thank you. All in favor?
Hi.
Reese, would you like to join us
I
up here?
would love to join you.
I think there's even a little. Next on it is our creative arts budget. Brian, I'm gonna let you take that away.
See how well. Let's see. I'll try and make this as.
There we go.
Can you read that all right? Yeah. Is it on the screens there? Got it? I'll start by showing you what was presented to council. Actually, let me switch here. Then I'll show you a little better breakdown of it. So this was presented to council as part of the budget review and the preliminary public hearing on the budget. This was the slide for the Creative Arts Fund. Dave Goldman, our finance director, went over each of the funds. To show you a little better breakout of that, a little easier to understand. Here's the breakout of the budget. We separated it out into bars codes, that made a little more sense and a little easier for us to track and follow with the budget. We have $5,000 that has been allocated for professional services, another $5,000 for repair and maintenance, and that will be for the Acorn sculpture repair and money going towards the shelter for that. $10,000 in miscellaneous. You can think of that as discretionary funding for projects that might be of a smaller amount that we wouldn't need to go to council for approval of, and also for overages or change orders or different things like that in relation to installations of public art pieces. $45,000 for community events, and the breakdown for that is WICA for 1,000, the school district for 5,000, a wearable art show for 3,000, Music Fest for 300, Holland Happening for 300, and then Chalk Art Festival for 35,000. And also street art event for 400. So 35,000, that's probably the first thing that we need to discuss with the budget. We had put in an ask for LTAC grant funding for 35,000 to match out of the Creative Arts Fund for the Chalk Arts Festival. We have notice from LTAC committee that the Chalk Art Fest was awarded for 17,000. So we'll have to have some discussion on how you want to make up that difference.
So, just a full disclosure again, I am part of the Oak Harbor Music Festival team. So LTAC process is very near and dear to my heart. So I've been involved from get-go and very current on all the meetings and discussion around the award for our event. I spoke with JR yesterday about where we were at with that application. I think it goes to council next week for approval, as it's been slated out by the committee members. And I also placed a call to Terry Morgan, who is the promoter for the event, outlining where we were at with dollars right now coming from each entity. And like most events, we can continue with the event on what funds that we have collectively together. The difference of the end result would be the caliber of artists that we bring into town, basically, kind of just like music. But JR wanted to talk about, with all of us, if in fact LTAC approved it at the 17,000, did the Arts Commission want to increase budget ask to get it to that 65,000, or roll with it where we're at? His comments to me, and I certainly shouldn't be speaking for him, but his comments to me were, it's definitely an event that would bring tourism, so he was a little disappointed in the 17,000. Was it 17.5 or just 17 even, Brian?
It was 17 even.
Yeah. That the committee is going to recommend for LTAC. He had hoped that it was going to be matched because it is the first time this entity is asking for LTAC dollars, and what a better partnership than that. So that's the update I have. Does anybody have any comments? Mary Liz?
Is there some concern that we haven't done this before?
You're welcome to watch the LTAC reruns of their meetings. It wasn't necessarily that we haven't done it before. One of the members expressed concern that Main Street has hosted chalk events, and it's a weather thing, like if it rains, what happens? The other negative comment was there was no budget within that application Wendy and I put together, no line items other than the total amount for the promotion of the event. We didn't have an opportunity to have a Q&A this year with that committee, so we could have presented that if that opportunity was given to us, but it wasn't. So I don't know how to answer your question.
No, that's fine.
Yeah,
And
okay.
and part of that, is that because we were really close to having to apply for the LTAC?
No.
No,
Mm-mm. You mean date-wise?
state-wise?
No. Brian, do you have comment on how they're approaching their allocations this year?
No, I'm not sure. We'll have to check with Wendy on it to get the details.
Okay.
And then I know that we missed one meeting, so in this discussion about the Chalk Art Festival.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no, sorry. It was on. One of the questions are just in my mind is, because we haven't done it before, with 17,000, what do you think we could do?
Well, it wouldn't be just 17. It would be, we've budgeted 35 for it, so it would be
Okay.
plus 17,000.
So it'll be the 35 plus?
Correct.
Okay,
The goal was 60 or 70,
okay.
which
okay.
was shooting a little high, knowing just costs of things have gone up since the one in Redmond was.
Okay, and then the promoter we would work with the promoter to then get what we can around that
Yeah.
budget amount.
Well, and the other, yes, you're right. And the other discussion with JR was, for a point of discussion here, another comment Terry had was, for example, if we could, get a discount on hotel rooms or get hotel rooms given to us for the event, that would help with costs. But it's one of those things is if we were asking for a promoter to do the work for us, kind of like the marathon, right?
Right.
Like we're hiring you to do this. So the idea of creating an event that we were going to start working
Right.
was not the concept.
So now it's a little bit different. I
Yeah.
get it. So now it's what labor are we going to put in
Yes.
versus hire?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody else have any questions or comments?
Is there any workaround with the 65,000 for the event? Like for, if we did have like volunteers, like does that take away from the cost? And are we closer to that amount? Or for certain things, obviously,
Yes, the workaround could be done.
Okay.
The bulk of the workaround would be directly at the caliber of artists that came to Oak Harbor.
Okay.
Trees?
I guess my thought would be
Oh, you're on.
to just see what we can accomplish with this budget, and if we can blow it out of the water, then we can maybe get a bigger budget for next year. And maybe you're not bringing international chalk artists, maybe you're only bringing,
Regional.
Western United States chalk
Mhm.
artists, because I know the Edmonds one, they come from all over the
Yeah.
world, and we maybe can't afford that out of the gate.
Yeah,
My thought.
okay. Well, and the LTAC isn't approved yet either, so that happens next week. So we could table further discussion on this until after we see that award
Are you
approved.
allowed to submit anything further, like the line-by-line budget, like you were talking that you
No,
didn't?
but I will be present at the council meeting, so if there's questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Sounds great.
Okay,
And then one more thing. And
okay, please.
The consideration to pool our resources with another community organization to then support volunteering or something in that arena, so that we wouldn't be heavy lifting alone in this event.
Correct.
And making it, a more community-wide. So
Mhm.
that's something to consider.
Well, and I would imagine all those details would work out once we get into contract with the production company. Yes, yes. Yes, Tracy?
I wonder if there maybe some community sponsorship opportunities that we could explore. You mentioned the hotel rooms, and that's maybe a place to start.
Well, again, that'll take the original concept of hiring a protection company to take care of all of it to now we're going to own a piece of the event and we would be the ones soliciting it, right? Like we would be the ones working it. And I don't think that's what the vision was, at least from my point of view. Events events are a lot of work, you guys, and I'm pretty involved with a big one. So does the Arts Commission want to get in the events business? I think we decided, even with our plan concepts and development, we've decided that's not. We would rather support them financially than run them.
I don't think that in the immediate, if it's a short term, they would be different. In the immediate, trying to heavy lift in this type of thing versus like long-term planning and then understanding that we would have some partnerships, that it's going to take a longer time to get to the end to create the event versus like, hey, let's hire somebody to get the event. So yeah, that's a longer, more buildable discussion, I think, depending on not even with the funds, just
Right.
what can we do? I mean, we had to really kind of struggle just getting to name a duck. So
Well, and
I'm just
I
saying.
appreciate, yes.
Yeah, it's a lot of work.
It is a lot of work. So I guess what I'm hearing, and I would like to suggest, is that we wait to see what is awarded at LTAC committee next week. Carla, I can't see you because we're looking at Brian's spreadsheet. Do you have anything to add?
Well, I'm wondering, can the Art Commission pledge a little more? Can we pull it out of our budget to make up for the
We absolutely could, and
The
that's.
loss?
Yes, and that's the point of this discussion. So I guess my suggestion would be wait to see what LTAC approves.
I mean, I think it might,
Go ahead.
yeah, I mean, I defer to you because I think you have the most knowledge of what's going on. But yeah, I think we should see what LTAC does and then we could revisit it. And if we need more funds, I think we could, the Art Commission could probably pull it off if we can't make it up in some other way. I think we should really try and do this.
Thank you. So.
You're welcome.
We can, go ahead, Brian.
I'm saying, which would be fine. Just keep in mind that once the budget is approved by council, any modifications, we'll just have to go to council to present that. And then
Correct.
include that in a budget amendment at a later date.
And budget approval is in December?
It is the 19th, November 19th.
Okay.
Yeah, next week.
Okay, so this particular item, if we come back next month, knowing what our LTAC award is for the event, combined with the already approved 35,000, would have to be an amended line item.
Right.
Okay,
Which is fine. We have a process for that.
okay. So we can table and continue discussion after we see what LTAC's doing with this? Does that need a motion, Mikhail? Okay, good. No? Okay. Does it? No?
No, I think if you have
Okay.
head nods all around that that's what you
Yeah.
want to do. we can
Yeah,
do that.
all in favor of just hanging out and waiting? Thank you.
Okay, so let me throw this back up here. Actually, before we move on, while we're on the line of special events, you want to jump in, Liz?
Can I just introduce this a little bit?
Yeah.
So we have budgeted $3,000 for the Wearable Art Show 2025. And out of my my attending the LTAC meetings, the city has been very savvy on putting in other applications outside of the chalk art ask from the Parks and Rec side. Not all were looked upon as something that tourism, or it's not attracted to be a tourist thing. So I immediately went to Liz and said, let's look at the wearable arts show again. I think it's an excellent example of a event that is right up our alleyway in partnering with the Senior Foundation. So rather than going into it in 2025 as a sponsor, as the title sponsor, I wanted Liz just to give you the lowdown of what had happened last year and what's looking forward to this year. And then I would like to ask my cohorts to consider increasing the $3,000 ask to $5,000, committing to 3 years out of our budget, and becoming part of the entities that are presenting the show to the community. That would allow the foundation to seek sponsorship outside of this entity being title sponsor. We would be presenting as well. So Liz, will you please?
Yes, that was beautiful. Thank you for that start and introduction. So I just wanted to start off by highlighting a couple of the magnificent pieces that were in the show last year that happened to be created by and headed up by wonderful people sitting at this diocese. So thank you, Therese and Cynthia. It was so awesome to see these pieces in motion and movement. We're looking forward to next year's event. It is going to be Saturday, April 26th for the dinner and show. And in an effort to increase the ability to bring community into this, we are starting a Sunday runway exhibit. So the following day, all the ensembles will be on exhibit at the center on the runway, and people can come in the community free of charge to look at them and experience them. Because what we've learned is our event space has sold out, which is wonderful. This event has become more and more popular. And so while there's limited opportunity to see that first showing, we wanted the community to be able to experience it on a greater scale. And that's something that we look to be able to grow in future years. Whether that be a second show, a Sunday afternoon family-friendly show, that type of thing, where it's not the main fundraiser, the dinner, the show, and then opening up to the community. And I really think that that's where a partnership and support with the Arts Commission can really help this grow into something that the community can continue to enjoy. So for those of you who aren't as familiar with what our wearable art show is, it is a juried runway show. And we ask artists to complete an ensemble, meaning it's got a headpiece or some kind of props, and then the outfit. And we do encourage student entries. We were so excited. Each year we've done it, we've had at least one student involved, and you see our student here modeling. It was another student who created it, and then another that modeled it, which was fabulous. And the Oak Harbor Senior Center Foundation does really want to support students in that they will give a $100 participation award to anyone aged 12 to 18 who creates a piece. So they're also able to win the cash prizes of first, second, and third, but just by entering a piece, they get those funds. Because we know that there's a cost associated with creating art, even when we want people using repurposed materials. There's always those extras. And so all entries have to be original to the artist and must contain repurposed material. So we really do encourage all levels of artistic skill, right? And it's so neat to see them mingling on the runway of new and blooming artists, and then a piece that wow, this person has been doing something like this for a while. But this really is the opportunity to grow our creative community here in Oak Harbor, highlighting local artists, but also a great event to serve as a connector of the arts and our community. It really is something that can bring someone who maybe doesn't consider themselves an artist into enjoying art, and even then being inspired to produce it. What's also been neat to see is people who attend the event and then say, ooh, I want to be a part of this. I want to try that. I could try that. And then they do the following year. So it's just super exciting. It's such a great fun event. And so, yes, I did just want to say thank you. Thank you for the support on behalf of the Oak Harbor Senior Center Foundation and our Parks and Recreation Department. We do truly appreciate the support that we have received from the Art Commission. It was a very successful event. Funds were raised for our senior programs, for the scholarships, the Gift of Connection for Senior program, and also it has given us the ability to update some of our technology at the center, which helps in supporting our remote and in-person classes. So, thank you. Yeah.
Can I just ask a logistical question? So are you going to rent mannequins for Sunday?
We're
For Sunday?
Options are open.
Okay.
Yes, we're looking at what that looks like. So I think, are you asking about for the show on the second day? Yeah, we're talking about dress forms and mannequins and how we best show those. Yeah.
I should say, full disclosure, this would be the second year that I am participating on the planning committee. So this is how this dialogue has started between Liz and I in developing the sponsorship program going forward. So does anybody have any other questions? Again, I just think it's a great opportunity to do that give and take between these pools of money that both belong to the city, arts and our senior center. But with my involvement, I'll abstain from anything going on here. But again, I guess my ask is that we increase that line item, Brian, from $3,000 to $5,000 and try to secure it for 3 years. I don't know why 3 years comes to mind. I think that's the 3-year max on an LTAC application too. There was a 3-year program going out. Mary?
I think that this is the Arts Commission's opportunity to step into community in an obvious way, where in the past we have been on the peripherals and nobody quite knows what we do. And in the last 2 years, we're putting out art pieces which are, actualities, but nothing that shows up that is in your face and says, the Arts Commission did this, which is something in motion and action. And I think that this is a great opportunity for us to do that. So I'm going to motion. Or
Do we need
do we need a
Brian,
motion?
on this?
I'm in
Okay.
agreement. I'll
Okay.
just say that.
You need a motion. to
I'll
increase
second
our
that.
assets. Okay. Will you say what it is?
I would motion that we, increase the amount from 3,000 to 5,000 in support of the Wearable Art Show, and to extend it out for a 3-year period.
Thank you.
And I'll
Valerie?
second that again.
Thank you. All in favor? Carla, will you say aye? Or what, is your hand up? I can't see you. There you are.
She's muted.
Thank you. Yay.
Thank you.
So what's that do to your budget, Brian?
Totally ruined. We'll have to start from scratch.
And can I also just say, Reese, welcome. I'm so excited. I'm excited to work with you on kind of this project too, and getting this information out into the schools. And also wanted to mention that we utilized student photographers, which we'll continue to do alongside our professional photographers, giving them opportunities to also, get work for their portfolio. So we're so excited that we now have another connection to the schools and be able to work with students.
Do I push this?
Yep.
Hello. Well, thank you for the introduction. This seems like a really fun event. I'm gonna move this.
You can. There you go.
And I also have a question on how you engage the students in this. The $100 participation reward is absolutely amazing, and I could see that being something a lot of artists at the schools are interested in. But how have you promoted this to students, or how do you plan to do that?
Yeah, that's a great question. So far in the past, we've sent it to the school's art teachers, and so it went out to kind of those who are in the art classes. But we also just have recently started utilizing Peach Jar, I think I'm saying that right, the email that goes out to all of the families as well. And so it went out with that last year, and we'll intend to do that again. But if you know more direct routes to students, that's definitely what we're looking for.
Well, that is hopefully my job, so thank you.
That's awesome.
Any other comments, Valerie?
I just have a question. How many entries for the wearable art?
Yes, we've had, on average, it's like 10 to 15. Actually, I think last year was 16, which makes for a really nice size show. The conversations are that we would currently cap it at 20. And then, you know, as opportunities grow and second shows come, the hope then would be to break it out and you can have, you know, like student showcase night and, you know, those types of things. But so currently we are accepting up to 20.
And that has to do with the length of the show or the evening.
Oh, I have a 13-year-old, so that's why I was like, oh, okay.
Thank you. Carla, did you have anything to add or say to this item?
I do not. I think it's a great idea. I'm all for it.
Thank you.
Okay, so that will increase that line to 48,000. Yeah, I don't have any more zero in there. Okay, we have insurance for 400. Then we have the transfer of 15,000 for art programming. And machinery equipment, that's basically the installation costs for the remaining 2 Kinnebrew piece collections. We don't have the plans yet in place for installation of what's next, so we just copied that over for 2026 as well, to give us that money when we get around to the planning efforts for installation of additional art pieces. And then the interfund charges for $11,755. That's calculated out by finance, but we'll get you some more details about what that's going to. Usually that is engineering costs around art installation. We had quite a bit last year, mostly around the angel statue. So that seems a little high. We'll work with finance and check on that. But let's see. So those were the 2 adjustments. Any questions on the art budget? Now this amount, 107, that includes the one-time cost for the Chalk Art Fest. So that will go down to 60,400 in the following year.
I was just curious, Brian, as you're putting this together, and you've most likely had experience putting these kinds of budgets together before, did you see anything, or do you have a concern about an area that maybe you're not sure about on the budget amount, and or something that might happen in the future where we would be at risk of overstepping an area?
So the 2 things that come to mind are, one, having a policy around our fund balance. What is the amount that we should retain in there, maybe as either a restricted fund or, you know, a certain percentage level. You know, we have proceeds of about 60,000 a year that go into the fund from utility tax. It's a 0.25% utility tax that goes into there. And that balance had been allowed in previous years to build up quite a bit without really a plan for what that was going to be used for. I think, you know, building up a fund balance with a specific project in mind is definitely acceptable, but we didn't quite have that. And so council had a lot of concerns about the fund balance. And that was expressed last year when the commission met with them. You've done a great job at piecing away at that. You know, we had a couple of large purchases. We supported some art programming, some additional events. We had the purchase of the Song of the Salish Sea piece that's there behind you. So we've gotten that down a little bit, and this next year with the Chalk Art Fest, if we end up taking that out also, that'll get us down to a pretty good fund balance, I think, where council wanted to see see active and proactive use of that for the good of the community. The other side of that, though, is making sure that we are living within our budget, right? That we are planning out to the amount of proceeds and revenues that we're getting, that we're not eating away faster at that reserve than we're able to restock it. So I think the art plan plays a pretty important piece in mapping out the activities for the Art Commission over the next 5 to 10 years. So those are the things that just keep in mind. I don't have any concerns. I think you've been doing what council asked you to do, and now with the art plan, we kind of have a business plan for how to go forward and the activities you should do and what those costs should be associated with it. So hopefully that'll make the next budget cycle a lot easier process.
I have a question. Sorry, Tracy. I do have a question, Brian, and actually kind of for Liz too. In the art plan process, the commission was wanting to use the interpretive center at least once a quarter to bring in an rotating installation for our community. Liz, did that get scheduled out anywhere for 2025 in the interpretive center's calendar?
Do you want to answer? It hasn't yet. Doesn't mean it can't.
Okay.
I guess it's what comes first, the chicken or the egg, right? Like, because as we are planning our programming, we can definitely be mindful or tell you, okay, here's some gaps in our sessions,
Right.
our seasons. But then do you feel like you could find installations to work around our schedule, or are we needing to work around the schedule of?
No, I think working around your schedule at this point,
Yeah.
since it's new, and it would be a new line item, we've been given information on how to search for those kinds of installations to come through from Frameworks, and it would be a budgeted item. So we don't know because we haven't had the discussion of the high and the low of that experience.
There's also another piece to that. So there's an infrastructure piece that we're waiting on.
Okay.
We need to do architectural services for the installation of a new front entryway. That would give us the second egress point, and then make the structural changes inside to close off the interior of the clean water facility
Okay.
To the public, so that we can have more of those kind of public events in that space.
Awesome.
So there's a little bit of space reconfiguration that needs to happen in this next year before we start doing activities like that.
Okay, so with that new information, thank you for sharing. Maybe instead of trying to work it into this budget, when the opportunity presents itself, if you put us in the calendar and the room is done, those things are done, then we can ask for an amended item after the council goes through the process of vetting whatever installation it is that we'd like to see at that point in time with a cost associated to it.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I think having an adoption of some policies on how we would manage a rotating art display, within the art plan and adopted by council will make that process a lot easier. That way you don't have to
Great.
keep going back.
Okay, awesome. Trees?
I do recall in the meeting when Frameworks was here that one of the artists that's on their team has a show
Yep.
already prepared, so we could just find out what it would cost to have her bring it here, and that could be when it's time, it could be our flagship.
Yeah.
And then I know other artists on the island that have
Yeah. And
the art that
and
could fill the space.
And they also gave us a nice database. I think it's at the state level with those types of opportunities. And it's a learning curve for us at one of our sessions just to see the price tags associated with it. Good. Thank you. Anybody else have a question for Brian? We're good?
Okay.
Do we make a motion to accept that, or have we already done it?
You pretty much, yeah, you've already done it.
Okay.
It's in the budget
Okay.
proposal to
Good.
council. We just wanted to see if there is any last minute
Okay.
changes or things that we want to look at for amendments coming up in the next.
Okay, awesome, thank you. Then the next thing on our agenda now would be 5, which was B, but it'll be C, and that's a update on our Kennebrew installation.
So we have the 3 totems piece that we're looking at for the next installation. That'll be at Sumner Park. And then the last piece would be Gate of Inspiration at the Beeksma Road trailhead for Fred Marsh. The Sumner Park location, we've met out there to look at where exactly we want to place it. It was proposed to be on the corner. Our arborist team had done some plantings already of some trees right there. So we looked at, well, do we want to move the trees? Do we want to move the location of the statue? Let me bring up a map here, maybe for a discussion might be a little easier. While I'm pulling this up, I don't know, you want to talk a little bit about our very wet on-site visit?
Well, it
Cynthia?
it happened to be the day that we had the storm come through, but we weathered through it. We got very wet. Brandon and his team met us out there, and Brian will give us the details, and after it was all over, I got to collect some apples for my alpaca off the ground and go home very, very wet.
Okay. All right, so here's Sumner Park. It's on the corner of First Northeast and Regatta. We have the tennis courts here, a little playground, kind of a primitive parking lot, fairly nice big open space. The Gary Oak Society has planted a couple of Gary Oak trees along the roadway here. And I think there's one actually right here too. The park was one of the locations we had looked at for the pickleball court facilities. We ended up choosing Fort Nugent Park for the first iteration. This is still a consideration for maybe future build-outs of that. They'd just be done next to the pickleball courts. So originally the statue 3 totems was proposed to be installed right here on the corner. We're going to be redoing all of our park identifier signs. There's one right here. And we have some trees that have been planted right in this location where the statue piece was going to go. It's right behind the sign, so you need a little bit of elevation to it. The trees and the sign there, a couple different considerations. You're kind of really only viewing it in one direction going north. We looked at location of having it somewhere here in the middle of the park. Just right up against the road, so it has a good viewpoint going both ways on Regatta. And our arborist, Bob Bailey, had talked about kind of framing it in with some cedars and a couple other things. On site, as we talked about it, we talked about what would that interpretive signage look like. Bob had asked the question, is there any significance with 3 totems to any of the tribal nations around? From my understanding, there isn't. I don't have the artist's interpretation of the art piece, but we talked about, is there an opportunity to have some kind of connection there, to do something like that, to meet with some of the tribal representatives. And we did have a really good meeting with them back in September and looked for opportunities on how we could partner and do more culturally significant and representative special events or information, tell a little more of the history of the indigenous population here, before settlers came to the area. That was a brainstorming idea. I don't know if we'll do anything like that, but mostly we're looking at, how can we add to this and tie in cedars or other kind of things with that. So really what we're looking for is some discussion around the location of that statue piece, what you think about having it kind of in the middle here. We have some Gary Oaks here. Like I said, I think there's just one right here. We could plant some more here and kind of have them framed on both sides of this art piece here. Kind of face the road. Or the other option is we could remove the trees that were planted here and put it in the original corner location. There was also an idea of having the art piece set back further in the park, maybe by a pavilion, or even on the side of the road. I don't think that had a lot of popularity with that having it closer to the parking lot. I think we wanted it to be able to be seen by the public a lot more. So I'll just turn it over for some discussion and comments, and let me hear your thoughts on it.
My thought is that it'd be towards the middle, but then also back, because it's just like, it's so random to have like one Gary Oak tree just there. I don't know if it's a big tree or a little tree or sprouting.
Yeah, they're all new
Which I
plantings.
know we can't do anything about that tree. But
There's more than one, though.
But
There-
there's like 4, it looks like 3
Yeah.
on one end and then
Here.
one right in the middle, like just sitting by itself, right? And so the sculpture, the 3 totems, how tall is it? What's the height?
About 10 feet tall.
And so I think sitting back off, but not all the way back by not by the picnic, but like in front, where you can still see it from the road, but it's not distracting, but it's also not hidden. And then it eliminates that randomness of this one tree in the park where.
Well, and Brian, when we talked with the team, if it was placed along that regatta, there would be more purposeful planting around it. So it would be an enhanced planting in addition to what was there.
If-
Being mindful of keeping that park open, like the green space open.
Right.
For
right,
families.
For families. So, yeah, like the corner is almost a little bit distracting because you're not gonna, and the trees are already there, and that's like a little laborious. But I think keeping the green space, having it there, but then also having it like kind of a focal point. But also keeping the space around close to the picnic tables, which actually invites community to sit and enjoy, but still be playful
Right.
in the park.
Thank you.
So Mary, can you like
Not there.
show it
Less,
further back or?
closer to the street,
Uh-huh.
down by the tree there, like in there, somewhere in that area, where you also like, if you're going to add the trees, then it would have enough space if you're going to have surrounding trees. Maybe the trees aren't very close to the totem. Go ahead, Therese.
Just kind of cohesively balance what's there. It's the 3, and then you add 3, and then you have the 1. You should probably add a couple more that frame it, and then I like the idea of the cedars and a few things that make it look like we meant it to be, not like we just plopped it.
Right.
Yeah.
And not like random trees, like we do have the Gary Oaks are what they are, and so, but consistency is going to be important too, because that's one of the problems in our parks. They're inconsistent. And if we can create consistency around the sculpture and the trees that are there, because then what kind of trees are lining first in regatta, and then regatta, what kind of trees are those?
Those are not trees, they're little parking poles, little wooden.
Oh, those are like little stump
Yeah.
things? Oh, Lord.
But the tree they planted on the corner, the newest tree is, if I remember right, was a sequoia, wasn't it, Brandon? So it'll get pretty big. Carla, do you have anything to add?
Yes.
Thank you.
First, I want to apologize for not making that meeting. For some reason, I thought it was at 10, not 9, so that's my excuse. I kind of like them placed a little closer to where you had your pointer in the beginning, Brian. More towards the shrubbery, or is it a tree that's over there on the left? Yeah. Kind of, well, and like Therese said, balanced between those three, Gary Oak and the single one. But I'm afraid if you start planting cedars and things around it, they get big. Eventually, they're going to be huge, and then they kind of hide the art. I don't know if you want to actually plant around it. I think maybe it should just be by itself. That's my thought.
I think find the spot, put it in, and then build around it when
If
you feel the
necessary.
need, if necessary. It doesn't, the whole plan doesn't
Yeah.
have to be right now.
I like
Because
that, too.
sometimes you have to live with it for a minute.
Or two.
Right?
Or three.
Yes, Tracy?
I am not sure I like the idea of the corner anymore. And I'm not sure I would like going down the street and seeing this statue right on the street. I agree that we need to give it a little more land around it, a little more balance of space around it, rather than being right next to the,
Oh, look at that.
oh, wow. I also agree that I've seen sculptures in different parts of our city that are maybe not visible enough, that they have too many things around them or something that's kind of blocking. There's a few that I didn't even know there was a statue there at first, because I was looking at the bushes in front of it instead of then, oh, wow, okay, there's a statue there. So I do agree that we should give it some space and allow it to live in a space that, to gain some attention.
Thank you. Reese, do you have anything to add?
I do have something to add. I completely agree with what you said, and with the posts, I believe, I'm not sure what those would be called, but on the corner where the posts and the sign, I don't think it would make sense to remove those things to be able to attract your eye to the sculpture. I haven't seen the sculpture. I'm sure it's gorgeous, but yeah, I think that the balance between being able to view it from the street and also to enjoy it while you're using the park's facilities is really important here.
Thank you very much. Therese?
One thing that could really help it is the bases are about this big. So it's like a 2x2 pour of concrete, and the bases could be a foot, 2 feet, ground level, or 3 feet, and then they're all 3 different heights, and that way it has some
Dimension.
dimension to it, and it's just not 3 totems that are not that amazing. Just resting towers.
I like them.
Will the sculpture have lighting to it, or will we just be using the street lighting on Regatta?
Would love to hear your thoughts on it.
I know how dark Regatta is right now, so,
I think there's some lighting on the tennis courts already, if I'm
oh yeah, it
not
could shine
mistaken.
off of that. Yeah, no, that's where my kids throw the ball with
Yeah.
my dog.
I think there are lights on the tennis court, but I suppose lighting on all of our art should be addressed at one point, be it little or solar uplighting or downlightings or something. So yes, yes, and yes.
So 3 totems is 3 separate individual pillar pieces like this. They're meant to have a rust patina look to them, so kind of a rustic look. And then the 3 totems will be placed in a artistic fashion. I'm looking at artists to tell me exactly what that would mean, but yeah, give you an idea of what that looks like.
Are they still going to sandblast?
I think we had talked about not sandblasting them.
Well, I don't think the tape's ever going to come off.
I think we should sandblast them. I think we should sandblast them if we want to have them patina in the thing. Just get them squared
Cleaned
off,
up.
sandblasted, put them out there, and they'll all do it the same way. Yeah, I would recommend that.
Thank you. Thank you.
And we have
Candace.
budget to do that.
Yeah.
Are they connected to that base?
No, they're individual, right, pieces? Yeah.
The square.
Oh, you mean the, yeah, down here?
Yeah.
It's on
Yeah.
dunnage, which is a couple of pieces of 2x4. So they are individual, and they'll just mount flat and drill into the concrete.
Oh, gotcha, okay.
Yeah. They all have a little bit of a different configuration, and one of the three has metal wire that.
Are we clear as mud?
Do you want to give me some direction on
Well, it sounds
location?
like not on the street, not on the sidewalk, right there, and back towards the shelter, but not, yeah, somewhere, yeah, yeah. I mean, when it comes time, we can actually go out and X the spot.
Sure,
But
yeah.
for generality, that will be it,
Okay.
okay? Thank you. We did have the Chalk Fest update item listed, but that's been covered in our budget discussion. And do we have any subcommittee updates?
I did not attend. So
Okay.
sorry.
That's okay. We missed a month.
Well,
Okay.
and Valerie, our team decided that it was best to wait for Frameworks plan and just put a hold on any new activities.
Great. And our placement committee was canceled due to the installation timing of the Angel of Creativity trees.
Well, JR and I are still working on the boxes being wrapped, and I have reached out to the drive-in again. Even though I've talked to them 5 times, they haven't produced anything, but I think it's going to be the same way it was in Freeland, over twice of what Jeff and Dawn are going to charge here in Oak Harbor.
Okay.
So I just want that third number so we. There's projects waiting to go.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up in the update of, we should get together and just strategize on how we want to move forward with that. We've been holding off on that for a while.
How long to wait? I'm sorry.
The Programs and Special Events Committee, I'll just give you a little update on that one. So that's the shared committee with Parks and Recreation. They went over the fee schedule. That's what our staff have been working really hard on. Brandon and Liz have put a lot of hours into trying to get that tuned up to make finance happy and make sure we're at a place where we're ready to submit that for council's workshop next week. And we talked a little bit about special events, recreation programs, and the decision packages around those. And Liz did a great job presenting to council on those, and those were approved to put into the budget. And we also talked a little bit about older adult programs and events, and then the website. We did meet with a little subgroup from that committee to start working on the website, and got fairly far along. We really got a good structure down. Liz put together a nice site map for how we want to put that together. We have an arts page that is individual as part of that. And so we'll build that out along with our plan and everything that Bobo and Framework is putting together for us. So a lot of good progress happening.
Yeah, yay. Thank you. Was that your update, Brian, or are we going to go on more?
That's just on the subcommittee.
Okay,
I can,
okay. Thank you.
if you're ready to move on
Yep,
to
I
director
think
stuff,
so.
I can go to that.
Oh, I'm sorry, wait 1 second. Carla, did you have anything to update with skate park? Is she still here?
It takes me a while to unmute my
Okay.
mute button. Sorry.
That's okay.
No, I don't really. I just want to say that the work party was awesome. And I felt like we made a really good connection with skaters and everybody that was there to help. I thought it was a great event. And I'm sorry that it's been tagged already, but that's the way it is at skate parks, I guess.
Time to paint.
Time to paint.
Thank you. Okay, Parks and Rec Director updates.
All right, so as we close out the Angel of Creativity project, and payment to Sculptures Northwest has been submitted, and now we look at park reconfiguration and anything else that's remaining with that statue. One of the things is the informational signage around that and what that ends up looking like. We've had some discussion with some subcommittees on a application, information application called See My Legacy. And Brandon's going to talk a little bit about that and get your guys' thoughts on it. Don't forget to turn on your mic, too.
Okay, let's see if this.
And mute your computer.
Oh, reverb. I do have something to fill a little time here. Two other smaller conversations going on. The welcome sign that was being led by Chamber. I reached out to our newer ED to see if any movement with that, because I was part of that cab board, just to light that fire again. And there was another one, I can't remember, but that was just a quick update on the welcome sign.
Okay.
There we go.
All right.
This is all news. Perfect.
Oh, okay. So yes, I wanted to talk to you guys about See My Legacy here real quick. So the Parks Department, we are looking to update our memorial catalog and just kind of get up with the times here. I've been looking at this See My Legacy. It is a website that I'll just run down here through. So this is an example of kind of what would pop up. So whenever you have something entered into See My Legacy, you have a map that will show you where your points of interest are. Their bread and butter is the memorial dedications, which is what originally caught my eye, and is why I started looking at this website. Whenever I started looking more in depth at this, I think there's a great opportunity for this to be utilized for the Art Commission as well. So this has QR codes associated with it. So this is just like, this is an example of a point of interest. So this would be the founder statue of our city, but we could have this, I was speaking to Cynthia earlier, we could have this be all of the art pieces that we have within the city could have a dedicated QR code that would take you, for lack of a better term, and I will get through in here for an example of what we can do with this. But it would have a dedicated QR code that would take you to a Facebook-like website that has unlimited amount of pages that you can give a real in-depth history. So for this, the example for the statues, you could have the monument creator and show behind the scenes creativity of this piece, the monument, the art piece actually getting made, see the history about why the artist was inspired to create that specific piece, what inspired Oak Harbor to go after this piece, and so this is the memorial, and this is a great way that we can. So this is for Helen. This is for Grandma Helen Smith. This would be a memorial bench catalog, but instead of just having Grandma Helen from 1995 to 2005, you would have a full in-depth opportunity to share her full life. This would be sent out to one of their loved ones. Whoever would do the memorial bench catalog would get a link to the UR or the website for their specific QR code, and would be able to flesh that out with whatever information they would want to put on there. That would get sent back to me to okay it before it got published onto the website. But this is kind of the handheld version of it. And this will give you just an idea. So if we did this with, let's say, the Kraken piece, that would be page 1 here. And this would be maybe an about with the artist. About the artist, tell them a little bit about the life history and who this artist was. And then we can fill this out. This specific one has 11 pages, but there's no end to however many you can. So this one goes into baby Helen. So this is Grandma Helen whenever she was older or younger. But we can go into the creating of the art piece, why it was, do all that backstory there. And then this also allows you to, like I said, see here, it'll bring up points of interest. We can have art pieces. I'm thinking history, art, memorials. They do have like a Armed Forces banner. I haven't looked in that, but that's piqued my interest as well with the Navy community. I think this would be a good opportunity to really get a hands-on interactive learning experience, which I think that we are missing within the city. We have so much history within this city, and it's very hard to, you really have to look for it. So that is my pitch for See My Legacy. Please ask me any questions.
I like the idea, but what is the art commission? How can the arts commission support this?
Monetarily, the art commission could support monetarily.
What
So,
you want, Brandon?
Your money.
as of right now, it is $2,500 for the year. That would possibly, depending on what they're going to throw in there, include some QR codes. But that service is, it would just be the reoccurring. Any QR codes that we would purchase, they keep on site for us, and they will ship them out for free whenever they're used. So if we had, I don't know what the current art inventory is, but let's say we had 35 pieces of art, we could buy a 50-pack of those QR codes with the knowledge that in the next 5 years we will use those extra 15. They'll store them on site for us, and whenever we put an art piece in, they will just send whatever we need for that.
So they would, the maintenance of the site is theirs
Yes.
until they don't maintain it anymore. How long have they been in business?
That is a good question that I don't have the answer to. We do retain all of our information that's on that site. So if we were to discontinue the services with them, we own that information, and we can transfer that into a different service if we were to go to a different site, from my understanding.
And then one more question is that, so this fee is annual fee, continuous?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you, Mary.
Brandon, curious what your proposal is for how this integrates with what Framework is already doing, what we're already paying them to do.
So that is what I wanted to talk to you guys about. I'd heard that you guys are thinking about, they're doing a walk, an art walk. That would be, I don't know exactly where you guys are with Framework. So
Do you have more to add or more to?
So you're unfamiliar with what we've asked Framework to come back to our commission for?
So we know that Framework is putting together a really fabulous website of like a catalog of all the art pieces, right? So where this would integrate it, unless what they're doing already does this, and that's great. But this is to be interactive both from the computer, which I believe theirs will do. It'll pull up a map that you can click on, right? Does their plan include anything on site? So now you're walking around there and you say, oh, I want to see this, scan this, go to it. Do you know? And this is something that we can communicate with them to see if, because we're definitely not trying to duplicate a service here for sure, but could this enhance that? And part of this discussion is Art Commission would not be the only one utilizing this, like he said, utilizing it for the
But
memorial
we're paying
benches.
for it.
And maybe a
Yeah.
portion.
Portion of it.
Portion.
Portion.
Yes.
So,
Okay.
so
not clear
Brian,
on
I
that.
have a question for you. As we, because I'm thinking of, the last thing we want to do with any of our funds is chase a project, chase dollars. And this, we have the Parks and Rec doing a website with park information. I know Carrie Stuckey was working on that, which will also list if there's public art in that park. And I talked with her directly about making that a hyperlink to our website for that description. There's talk with the chamber to upgrade or renew the Art Walk map, which will have links to everything. I feel like this is a bigger picture that you have a view of what's needed kind of everywhere. And we have talked about UPC codes, or I'm sorry, that's food, QR codes. My tuna monger's coming out. QR codes versus storyboards. So while I appreciate the information, and this looks like a really cool opportunity with a lot of, like you said earlier, Brett, a lot of room for telling stories, which is really important. People want to know the stories, including the history of Oak Harbor. So how, I mean, is this just one pitch, Brian? Then we need to look at it more holistically?
Yeah, so this is a tool in our, repertoire of, public art, right? So we are doing a renovation update of the city's website, right? And that's going to include an arts page. And that arts page is going to have links to a lot of different things. It'll have information about the commission. It'll have a link for call for artists, a link that goes to a page about individual artists in the region can register to be listed there for commission work. One will go to our art inventory page, right? So this is a tool where when you go physically to the art piece, you can see it, scan it, and read all about it. And all that service is hosted on this company's website. So it's something that we don't have to build all out within the city's pages for that, but we can link to those as well from there. It's just, it's a QR service basically for signage. And
Does this seem desirable from your experience? Or is this a Band-Aid on our need? I mean, it's an annual fee, so we could say, oh, let's do this for a year and get the information at the sites of our memorial benches and our art, all 40-something of our inventory, so there's something there as we roll out the new map.
it's pretty interesting. It's intriguing. It's something that I might even like to just, try it out and see how it works for what we're trying to do. I've worked with art groups that have done different iterations of this. Back in the day, we used to embed thumb drives into the wall, at a mural, and you would like connect that way, right? So very similar kind of thing, just gives you a lot more information. I don't have a lot of comparables to this as far as, is this a good value? Would like to have some discussions with other communities that have implemented this and see, how do you like the product? How much does it get used? Do you feel like it's worth the price of it? Are there things that you don't like about the company? Are there other companies that do something similar? If we were to do a comparable, what would that be? What other businesses do a similar product? I imagine they're not the only ones doing QR code hosting, right? But this one definitely is very specific to a type of presentation of information that works very well for public art pieces and memorials and things like that.
Great. Trees?
I think when Brandon used the word history, there's so much in our community, like the horse ring that's on Pioneer Way that they left in the sidewalk, and that's just a weird little gem that people don't know about. And then the echo chamber up by Verina's 2 sculptures I think we could fill this with content and wish we could get our hands on more, because there are stories everywhere, and it could be the tree, it could be the Blarney Stone, it could be a lot. It's just going to be a lot of homework and a lot of research. One of the things that nobody's really aware of right now, though, is Richard Nash has reached out to Missy at Whatcom Community Foundation, who got the remaining funds from the George Drake estate, which was a large amount of money, and we're out of money. We are actually paying our bill with money that isn't that money be set aside to do this.
And who's we? Identify we for me.
Sculpture
Thank you.
Northwest, but they had
Just
a fund
for
for
the
the
record,
Angel
yeah.
and a very small fund for trying to rebuild.
Okay.
Anyway, I think it's important to get a tangible kiosk like the city colored blue and yellow one that's up at Scenic Head Trail High. They're 3 wings with 6 panels, and they're all enamel. And I believe that Eric Marshall was one of the, not vendors, but he reached out and was the person that guided us to get those done. And there's one by the Pilot, right, on Honor Parkway. So I was hoping to have the 6 panels or the 3 wings just have tangible words of history of the Angel and George Drake and Sebastian and a couple of Al Zimmerman and some of the people that made all of this happen, so that it's something you just go up and stand and read like an old-fashioned person that doesn't have a cell phone, maybe. And
Well-
we're reaching out to Missy to see if we can grab some more of those funds so that we can fund a kiosk. And I just need to talk, and I was going to call Eric today, but I want to find out what that cost, because she replied to us and said, I need just an outline of what you're expecting, what you want from us. So if that's okay, can I keep moving forward with Richard and trying to get the funds after we find out what it actually costs to put up a kiosk?
You've
Yes,
taken us way off track. Therese.
This is my last meeting.
Oh, it's not. December.
We're going to talk about that in a second.
So we collectively with our arts plan processes have talked about where those kiosks are appropriate and
Not everywhere.
not everywhere, and the UPC code is appropriate. So, I did it again. I'm so sorry. That was on my tuna can, so, okay. But I think we all agree that the Flintstone Park is appropriate for a kiosk, because not only is it the Angel, it's the history of the car, the park, the pier remains are out there. So there's a lot of story there. So, again, I think this is a fix, like an immediate fix, and it is a subscription. So I think I think it warrants much more conversation and investigation. Not canceling out the idea of identifying where kiosks are needed. or warranted.
Personally think that the website is a great idea, but I think it could be outsourced to the high school. This could be something that someone in the computer science at the high school could develop and do the research, work with us, we work with them, and then I don't know how that goes for payment for that or whatever, but I think that's something that they should be doing. They're the ones walking in our footsteps later, so.
So just for some clarity, when you say kiosk, do you mean like a written information, somewhere like they have at Monroe's Landing, like a written informational?
Yeah,
Post.
so at the end of Scenic Heights, the beginning of the trail there's what we're calling a storyboard or kiosk right there before
Okay.
you start into the trailhead. That's the approved structure when they were planning out parks and benches and garbage cans around the city in phase 1 of Windjammer. I think that came into play all those years ago. So that's what
Okay.
we're referring to.
Well, where I think this might be maybe something more than a supplement for that is it seems like the map feature is something really cool where you can see all of the different monuments and art pieces connected through each other throughout Oak Harbor, where if you were to just see the kiosk, it'd be that one,
Stagnant.
that you'd be standing right in front of it seeing that one, where this website seems like a really cool idea where you could really see everything that Oak Harbor has to offer in one place. So I could see this maybe being more for a tourist demographic, something more appealing to them, like where they can really see what we have to offer, where the kiosk are, like locally, I live on Scenic Heights, where it's really like, oh, I get to appreciate what I already know is here and learn about it. So
Thank you. Tracy?
A couple things on this program. It is a really great program, and I think whoever it was that said, how long have they been in business? I think that's number one before you do any business with a company. I think that's important to see that they have longevity and future business. I would say there's a lot of opportunity, yes, for art pieces, but as Tree said, we have tons of historic sites and elements that are not even visible or even known to the city. And I know that we don't have an active historical society.
We do.
Oh, do we now? Mm-hmm. Okay. Perfect. It wasn't a couple months ago, so that's awesome. Because I think that would be a group that should be involved in any kind of discussion about something like this. The other part is we are paying already somebody to put an art map together and put all that together. Framework is doing that for us on a website. So I think we need to discuss that. Let's not double pay or over duplicate our efforts, or how can we integrate, or do we drop one for the other, or there needs to be more discussion and more information. The other is too, Brandon, I'm wondering, sometimes these companies will do a pilot test for you. Which then will give you an idea of, how they work. Are they going to be good and easy to work with? Is it worth the money? Does it look like we're going to get the value out of it? And then we're only putting a little bit of money toward this pilot. So we get an idea, hands-on, of what it's going to do, how it works and plays, and then public feedback. You could gather from that. So if they've never done one, I would highly recommend proposing one. Oak Harbor is rich in so many things that would be a part of a program like this, that to roll it out is going to be a lot of work. So if we can get an idea as a pilot program before you roll it out, granted that all the other things are answered for us that I brought up, I think that would be my recommendation.
Treese, 1 second. Carla, do you have anything to say before Treese adds?
I do. I think QR codes are the way of the future. I think, yes, kiosks are warranted for certain areas. I think we should really do our homework and talk to other cities and see what sort of system they use, because this is not something that's new. It's been around for a while, so I think we should look into who is doing it out there. There's got to be a lot of people out there before we like pick on one. I mean, I like that site. I think it's great. I don't know about Grandma Jenny, but I just think everybody has a phone nowadays, and QR codes. I mean, we have to join the modern world. So I think it's a good first step in getting there.
Thank you. Therese?
This is me being naive again, but Brandon's already done a lot of homework, and maybe if you did a little bit more homework and got in touch with somebody at the school, and we could divert some of the funds, not $2,500 a year, but these kids are so smart and they have the equipment in that department that you could just let them loose on this website and figure out how to make this for us. And then we've done it in-house, we've got kids involved, and we own the equipment. It's at the high school.
The other app that I know of that's not QR code related, but it was driven by the state and the tourism industry, it was about our trails. And I used to have it on my phone. I don't have it anymore. I think it was called My Trails or something. Yeah, and so that company would be one to look at because they've already worked with Washington State and they would have an overview. But it's live. Like if you were a hiker and you went to a park, you could say, oh, there's no parking here right now and I'm going somewhere else. But it identifies all the trails. So there's some type of coding going on there. And where I'm going with this is if it's a company comparable to this, maybe there's some state dollars that would help fund the app. I'll find out exactly the name of the app for you. Yes.
I have something. So
It's
when
called
you talk
Trails.
about high school engagement with this, which I think is a great idea, by the way, but when you talk about it, are you proposing that we have some sort of like actually creating this software in this program, or having the high schoolers put in the information if we were to use My Legacy? Yeah.
Tracy? Valerie. I looked right at you and called you Tracy. I'm sorry.
Hello. I think it would be both. Because, I mean, I know that they do computer programming and stuff at school, and that's very implemented into the education curriculum and stuff. So it would have to be, we'd have to see what they could present, what they could come up with, what their smart little minds can come up with, and you know, present it to the board or the council or the city, wherever, and then you move forward from there. I'd much rather work with a local business or with the high school versus a company that's based out of Ohio.
Therese, did you have something to say? No?
You know, Reese brings up a really good point, actually 2 points for consideration. One is that there's probably a lot of different ways that we could do something like this and host it. And there are considerations on, like you asked, you know, how long has the company been around? How long will they be around for? You know, if they go out of business, yes, we keep the QR codes, but they're no longer hosting the information on their site, right? So we would have to move that over to our website. Just the logistics of that, of how you put it together. But I think there are a lot of different ways. This is a really clean package way of doing it. But the other consideration with it is the information input, right? That's going to take some work to not only put all that in, and we are paying a consultant right now to do that with our art inventory. And so with all that work they're doing, that's going to make that job a little easier, but you're still going to have to input in all that information into this program or the website that it goes to, put in the pictures and just, you know, format everything in a nice display. And while Liz confided to me earlier that she really wishes she had more to do, I want to try and avoid putting too much more on one of my staff's plate. And so we'd have to think about, well, who owns that, right? Who's going to be the one managing that, putting in that, keeping it up to date and whatnot.
Mary Elizabeth?
In the short amount of time that we've been discussing this item, I have searched seemylegacy.com, and it's pretty new and young. They also, their work is remote work. So your Ohio people are the office front sales, and then you are offloading to offshore or out-of-country persons to work remotely to do the programming and then data analysis and upkeep of the systems. So now we have exposure to, we have a little bit of exposure. I'm doing my risk management thing, and so my Vibe thing is not good in this instance because of the length of time that they're in business, which the one co-founder graduated high school in 2017. And so now and then we have another co-founder with probably some more time. But again, exposure to offshore or off with city data, and then the time in business. I'm just not comfortable. I'm just going to say that, so then I don't have to.
Thank you.
There's some
Concerns?
concerns.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
And any software that we would get into an agreement with, we'd want to vet through our IT department as well.
Yep.
Well, appreciate all the comments and feedback. You know, Brandon had come to me with this service as a tool for memorials and saw an opportunity to apply it to public art pieces as well. And I think there's a lot of good ideas around what that might look like as we develop that and improve all of our public art piece sites with art walks, different things like that. So there's no action required on this. It's just an update for your information to just present the idea and get your thoughts on it. And we'll talk more about it in our public art committee on how those
Subcommittee.
displays look like, kiosks, QR codes, all that kind of stuff.
Great. Thank you. Thank you, Brandon.
I do want to, one more thing, I do want to say that the idea surrounding it is all good. It is like you're bringing us up to speed into the current times versus those times. So the future is now, so that is important. So those points are important.
Thank you.
Okay, so Therese, thank you for the segue into this discussion. So you may not be aware, maybe that at the beginning of this year, all your terms kind of started over, right? So we did that to stagger. Yes, thank you. Term end dates. So we have a little more consistency in that. So here are your current term end dates. Carl at the end of next year, JR at the end of 26, Mary will be at the end of this next year, 25, Valerie in 26, Cynthia in the end of 25, Tracy end of 26, and Therese at the end of next year. So you think you're getting out, but we conspired to find a way
She thought that last year.
Keep you on for another year, so congratulations. Now, at the end, of probably about November of 2025, we'll redo this and reset you again.
Do you want to think about this?
These are the current term dates. You
I
are
have a
not
problem
an
with even
indentured servant, though, so, you know.
I
if
have
you
a
feel-
problem with even numbers, and this would have been 8 years, so I could live with the 9. But I've taken on a couple of things thinking I wasn't having this in my repertoire. So while I can do it, and I will do it, it's going to complicate my year because I was going to try to start doing sets at the Whitby Playhouse.
Yeah, I know you'd been planning for ending your term at the end of this year. So give it some thought, you know, and talk to us about it. And
Okay, I'm taking all the presents I brought back.
Carla.
Sorry. Sorry, Therese. We need you.
All right, any questions? And so now we have Reese on, and that will be for,
August of
Yeah, it
25.
just goes for the school year, yeah. Yeah. That'll be 25, though, August of 2025.
Anything else, Brian?
No, any questions on that?
Nope.
Okay. Let's see here. We'll do it at the next commission meeting, actually. I was going to go over the committees and see if you guys wanted to switch around, if we want to throw Therese on one of them, assign Reese to one of them. But we'll talk about that at the next meeting. The last thing I have is that the city administrator has asked that I work with legal on developing conflict of interest disclosure forms. So we're looking at providing those at the beginning of the year just to list out if there's any conflicts of interest. Just a heads up on that.
Thank you. And member comments, I'm going to start because JR was supposed to do this, but we have some news, and if you haven't seen it on social media already, let's see if I can do this. But the Whidbey Institute.
My husband's watching.
Is he?
He goes, nice.
The Win. There we go.
John wanted another free evening in the week.
Let me see, Mary Elizabeth, how am I going to get this up right for us to read more? Okay, here it is. So this, again, was just posted yesterday, and I'm going to read it verbatim. And it was posted by the Whidbey Institute here on Whidbey Island. Poet Mary Elizabeth Himes, there is a photo of Mary reading an original poem, Wild Ideas, at this year's 50th anniversary celebration gala. The co-executive director, Rose Woods, below introduces our first poet laureate. Am I saying it right? Thank you. Mary Elizabeth Himes. Mary Elizabeth wrote and performed her original poem, Wild Ideas, at this past year's gala. You can see and read it here. We look forward to the power of Mary Elizabeth's words being a part of Whidbey Institute starting next year. Oh, see, I just lost it again. There's just a little bit more. Sorry. And it goes on to read, at our recent gala, after reading of her evocative poem, Wild Ideas, our board president, Casey Dillaway, suggested that the Whidbey Institute ask the remarkable Mary Elizabeth to be our poet laureate. It was a wild and unprecedented idea, and much to our delight, she accepted. Her poetry has graced many events, moving hearts throughout Whidbey Island and beyond. Mary Elizabeth is a walking kaleidoscope of ideas with equal parts stormy skies and rainbows. I will never forget meeting her and our first days of working together. I'm deeply grateful to her. Shoot, it did it again. I'm sorry, I've got big thumbs. I should have been more prepared, JR. Working together. I'm deeply grateful to her for that time. I recently asked her what she'd like me to say about her, and her response was, Mary Elizabeth wants to make a difference. She has found a way to impact others through her gift of writing. She believes that she can give others hope in the face of struggle and uncertainty by simply being herself and having the grace of vulnerability. She also added, we are the wildest dreams of infinity, and our work is to keep dreaming so that the wheels keep turning and love keeps loving and the bombs of love keep beating in our hearts. Be the dream, be the love bomb that explodes and showers infinity with peace, understanding, and wild ideas. Congratulations, Mary, on your new designation.
Yay!
Do we have any other comments from our members, Carla? No?
That's so incredible, Mary Elizabeth. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
You are the bomb.
She is the bomb. Valerie,
Nope, just glad to see you guys.
Thank
Missed you
you.
guys last month.
anything?
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, everybody, and thank you, Whidbey Island, for cracking me open. Thank you.
Therese? Reese?
Thank you so much for my appointment today. I'm so excited to
We
join
are
you guys.
excited to have you.
Thank you.
Tracy?
I do have an opportunity to just throw out there. I, through a meeting, a wonderful meeting, was introduced to a former art commissioner for Langley. And when she and I had a chance to get together, I learned a little bit about how they came about becoming a creative district. And she said that there's a lot of misunderstanding around it. It's actually a state program that supports a community in the arts with some money and some things like some technology training and things of that nature as well. But she has offered her time to come to one of our meetings, and since she was very much one of the members that pushed that whole process through to get the award for Langley, she would love to come and share that with us and see if that's something that would work with us as well.
Information is key. And there is some history to the interest here in Oak Harbor about that.
Oh.
So we'll
Oh.
have coffee.
Okay, good. Okay, great. And then,
But yes.
So do we want to wait a little bit, or do you want me to try to schedule with and maybe some of you know her, Joanne Quintana?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I thought you knew her. Yeah.
Let's,
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Well, yeah, so we just renewed it again. I just met with her last month, so.
awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
Let's see, what's next? Determination of future agenda items. Does anybody have anything that's not in the pipeline they'd like to bring to us next month? I'm excited to see our plans. I can't remember the timeline for frameworks. What's our next deliverable? I'm putting you on the spot. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'll have to look at his emails here. Let me find that, and I'll send it out to
Okay,
you guys.
and our next regular meeting then would be when, Mikhail? December 12th
Let's see.
is our next regular meeting.
Sorry, this got a little wet, but that, here's one of their presentations to us that you can keep.
Did you say December 12th? Yes.
Is our next regular meeting?
Yep.
Yeah. I guess we could just revisit the calendar with Framebooks. I didn't have it in front of me, Brian, I'm sorry.
No worries. In fact, it's probably, no matter where they're at, probably time for a check-in with them. So
Yeah.
I'll talk with Leslie. And
Okay.
maybe she can give us an update.
Okay, great. If there's no other items, I would like to call for a motion to adjourn the meeting. Mary Elizabeth, thank you.
I'll second that.
Thank you, Valerie. All in favor? Aye.